Alright, well this story is called The 12 Dancing Princesses, and it's a Grimm Brothers tale. So, once upon a time, there was a king who had 12 beautiful daughters, and they slept all in one room, in 12 beds, all lined up. And every night, they would go somewhere, but nobody knew where. And every morning, their slippers would be worn out, as though they'd been dancing all night long. And no one could figure it out. And the king asked his daughters, and they would not tell him, they would not tell him, they would not tell him. And it got to the point where the king was so desperate to find out that he issued a proclamation in his country. He said, "Anyone who can figure out where my daughters go at night and what they're doing, well, he shall have whichever daughter of the 12 that he likes for his bride, and he shall be the heir to my kingdom." So he put out this proclamation through the whole land, the only stipulation being that if whoever tried could not figure it out within 3 days and 3 nights would be beheaded, which was a little harsh. But different times, and if he was going to allow this, whoever came to be so close to his daughters, there had to be some consequence for not being able to figure it out. And very soon a prince came along, and he said he was going to try his hand at it. So they had a feast the night before, and then they all went off to bed, and the prince was put in a chamber right next to the princesses, and the door was left open so that he could hear what was going on in the night. But he fell asleep very soon, for he had a little bit too much to drink at the party. And he awoke the next day, and he was a little bit concerned that he couldn't figure it out, but he resolved to stay awake for the next night. And the next night, the same thing happened. He fell asleep, and he didn't wake up till morning, and the slippers were worn out, and he didn't know why. The same thing happened the third night. He was beheaded. And other princes came to try their hand, because these princesses were very beautiful, and to inherit a whole kingdom on the basis of 3 nights, well, that was a pretty good deal. But they all lost their heads the same way. And there was an old soldier who, when fighting in the war, had gotten rather injured. He was wandering through the country, going through the woods. He happened upon an old lady, and she, after they'd been chatting for a while, as you do when you're in the woods, told him of the proclamation of the land. He said, "Well, I don't have much to lose with my life. I'm pretty much done with my career, so I think I'll try my hand at this." She said, "Oh, it's not a problem. The secret is, don't drink the wine that the princesses give you before bed. And also, take this cloak. It'll make you invisible, and then you can follow the princesses wherever they go." So the old soldier goes to the king and makes his intentions known. And he is received just the same as the princes. They have a party. He goes to bed in a chamber next to the princesses. He accepts the wine, but he does not drink it. He kind of just throws it over his shoulder, and they think he's had the wine. So then he lays down, and he starts snoring very loud to trick those princesses. And they hear him, and they laugh, and they say, "Oh, this old fart, he should have just lost. He's going to lose his life in the same way as everybody else. It's so silly. He should have just kept his life and gone through the country." Well, they're getting ready. The youngest sister is a little bit concerned. She says, "Well, something doesn't feel right to me. I just don't know what it is." I say, "You say this every time there's somebody here. Stop being such a worrywart." And so they get ready. They pull out their finest dresses, and they put on their favorite new shoes, and they're so excited to go dancing. And they peek in on the soldier one last time, and he is still snoring and snoring, and they laugh and laugh. They go back into their room. The oldest sister claps her hands. Her bed flies away, and a trap door appears in the ground. That opens up, and they start to go down a set of stairs. And the old soldier, who's heard all this, quickly throws on his cloak that makes him invisible and chases after the princesses, afraid he might miss his chance. He runs down the stairs, but in his haste, he gets caught on the hem of the youngest sister's gown, who's gone down last. And she cries out, "Oh, sister, something is not right, for my gown has been tripped up." They say, "It's just a snag in the wall. Stop being so silly." And the trapdoor closes, and they all make their way down a set of stairs, down and down and down. And at the bottom of the stairs, they enter a beautiful grove of trees made of silver. And these trees are so beautiful, the soldier, partly to take back some evidence, but partly because the trees are so beautiful, breaks off just one leaf from the tree, but it makes a loud snap, And the youngest daughter, again, she freaks out. She's so concerned. They say, "Oh, stop. It's just our princes who are so excited to hear us coming. They are calling our names out." And she's slightly assuaged by this reassurance, and they can continue on until they get to a grove of gold trees. The same thing happens there. Snap! "Oh, it's okay. It's just our princes calling our names." And the same thing in the grove of diamond trees. Well, finally, they get to the shore of a large lake, and there are 12 little boats lined up on the shore, each with a prince inside. All the princesses climb into a boat, and the old soldier quickly gets into the youngest sister's boat. The princes start rowing across the lake, and in the boat where the old soldier is, the prince is rowing and rowing, and finally he says, "I do not know what it is, but no matter how hard I row tonight, I cannot keep up." And the youngest daughter, she says, oh, it's fine. It's just the heat. Don't worry about it. Just keep rowing. We'll get there." They get to the shore of an island, and on that island there is this beautiful castle, all lit up, and they can hear horns and trumpets playing. And they rush to the castle, and they go into a beautiful ballroom, and there's a band playing beautiful music, and they dance the night away, each with her own prince. And the soldier dances along, and drinks some wine, and has a good time, just watches. And they go back, and they get to this grove of trees, and they walk through all the trees, and at the base of the stairs, the soldier runs up ahead to make sure he's back before they come back. And they climb the stairs very slowly, for their slippers are worn out, and they are tired from dancing all night. And they get back, and they see the soldier in his bed, and they know that all is well. So they take off their clothes, and they go to sleep. And the next day, the soldier doesn't say anything, for he kind of wants to see where this mysterious and strange adventure will lead him. So the second night, he follows them again, and the same thing happens. And he watches them dance all night. And the youngest is less concerned this time, for nothing has happened so far. And the soldier seems to be sleeping the whole night. And the third night, the same thing happens again. And on the third day, he's brought before the king, and he has with him the silver and the gold and the diamond branches. And on the third night, he'd taken a golden goblet as well, just to show that there was this castle. And the king says, "Do you know where my daughters have been dancing every night?" He says, "Underground there is a castle with 12 princes, and the princesses are dancing there every night." And he presents his evidence. And the daughters, upon being charged with this allegation, well, they say, "Well, yes, actually that is true. That's what we've been doing. We didn't want to tell you because we love dancing far too much." And the king says, "Well, soldier, you may have whoever you would like as your wife, and you will inherit my kingdom." And the soldier, as he's rather old, he says, "Well, I will take the oldest for my wife, as I'm rather old myself." They were married that very same day, and the soldier inherited all of the kingdom.